all. Welcome to a quick overview of the accountability and workplace standards and some things for this subcommittee to consider when developing these resources, expectations, or even some policy recommendations in the area of standards-based grading. So as you know, one of the goals of the district's SBG committee is to focus on the products or policies that could systematically support our teachers, students, and admin district-wide in the area of standards-based grading and other effective grading practices. Developing systematic ways in which we can hold students accountable for their behavior and professionalism while still confidently reporting an academic grade that represents student proficiency on a course's essential content is crucial to the success and longevity of SBG in our district. That was a crazy run-on sentence, but you get the idea. Anyway, that's why we're putting this increased focus on accountability and workplace standards. Just so we're all on the same page, let me just quickly go over what we mean by accountability and workplace standards. One of the most controversial yet critical tenets of sound and effective grading practices is the idea that behaviors such as punctuality, participation, professionalism should have no impact on a student's academic grade if it's not part of the academic standards, right? Which is actually not the case with some of our CTE courses that have those professional standards. If a grade should represent a student's proficiency level on the course's essential standards, that grade is watered down and less of a representation of student proficiency when we also grade students on non-academic attributes, how they act. So how can we provide feedback to students and parents or guardians on these behavior components? Because they are important, right? Students should be harnessing these skills through every course of high school. And additionally, how can we hold students accountable for undesirable behavior without the use of grades as a punitive measure? So as your team begins to delve into this, here are just some quick things to consider. Let's first talk about workplace or professional standards. That is, attributes that are expected of students who are college and career ready, but may not be tied to any, specific academic skill in a course's curriculum. How are they developed, right? Is it a district team, a site team, a teacher team, this subcommittee maybe? And how are they reported, right? Is it calculated towards the overall grade, even in a very minimal capacity, right? Is it a separate grade that we report? I think Stevenson High School does something like this. Do we just give the non-graded feedback, to parents and guardians and students, right? Is that communicated, via email and phone calls, right? And let's say we have these workplace standards in place, right? And Billy is scoring low on all of them, right? What's his incentive to work on his behavior? How does this impact eligibility? How does it impact other school events, right? Pep rallies, dances, competitions, or should there just be an increased focus on that communication piece, right? So again, these are just a few things to consider. We went over this during the whole group presentation, but just remember the majority of the brainstorming and work being done will be in these 2-week intervals in between the meetings. So we're calling the next 2 weeks between this meeting and next, stage 1, right? Research and feedback. And here are some questions that you may want to consider when delving into the research, right? First, what does the research say? And what do the SBG experts say, right? We know we have these, grading gurus, Tom Schimmer, Gusky, Reeves, Marzano, there's more, right? They have books, articles, websites on effective grading practices. Do they have anything specifically about this topic, right? Are there any case studies that we can look into? Right? Any local schools that are full SBG or maybe adopting particular practices of effective grading and reporting, right? How did they get there, right? How do they handle this topic? Stevenson High School, right? Some of us have visited that school. That's a high school in Illinois. That's kind of the birthplace of PLCs. They've been doing SBG for, over 2 decades at this point. How do they handle this situation? And who do we need to reach out to in our circle? Right? Who are the key players that can provide the insight and the feedback that can kind of guide our work here? So what you guys are going to do, you're going to gather this info, you're going to determine what you believe is relevant, and then you're going to present it to the whole group next meeting. How you present is up to you. If you want to do a PowerPoint slide or just, kind of talk it out, totally fine. Just don't exceed that 7 minutes because we do want to save some time to solicit feedback from your peers. That will hopefully guide the next 2 weeks of work that you'll be doing with your subcommittee. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching this video, and thanks again for being a part of this committee. At this point, you should begin these conversations, ask the real questions, and figure out how your team maybe will answer them. And as always, feel free to reach out to the committee leads with any questions you may still have. All right, thanks. Bye.